Hey podcast, just before we get you to this episode, I wanted to invite you to join us at pageantlaunch.com. We are starting the world's first dedicated pageant review site, and we want you to join our launch team. All you need to do is put in your email address. It's completely free. We are looking to make the pageant industry safe, transparent, and fair, and we'd love your input on how to do that. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, whack in your email address, and let's get you to this episode.
Hello, I'm Grace Levy, Miss Universe Great Britain 2014 and pageant coach at Reignmakers London School of Pageantry, and this is my pageant project interview.
Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project, and I'm here with Grace Levy, who is Miss Universe GB 2014, and is it head coach or founder or CEO of Reignmakers, Grace? Which one? Was it all of them?
It's a bit of everything, to be honest. Head coach, the only coach, and the founder about 5 years ago. So all of the above. All of the above.
So basically everything. You basically are Reignmakers. Let's be honest.
I am the Rainmaker, yes.
Okay, rain as in R-E-I-G-N. We should just clarify, not R-A-I-N.
Yes, no, I don't make it rain, but I do make rain, so yes, R-E-I-G-N.
Perfect. Okay. Now, guys, we have, as I mentioned to Grace, we've got the podcast in an hour, so I can't keep Grace for long. So I can see a lot of you have jumped on, and I'm assuming she's coached a bunch of you. So if you have any questions, start putting them in now, and I'll circle to them as quickly as I can. But Grace, just to give context, can you give us an idea as to your pageant background, so your pageant history? How you got involved, why you got involved. I saw the Michael Jackson video that was very impressive, by the way. But take us back to how your pageant journey started.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, I've been in the pageant industry now for almost 10 years. So casting back quite a way, I sort of became interested in because actually when I was really small, my mother entered me into our local sort of carnival princess to sit on the carnival float and wave at the village. When I became a teenager around 18, I was like, well, I'd actually quite like to do this again, but actually properly and actually compete in a pageant as opposed to just sitting on a yeah, exactly. The more grown-up version, and you actually take part in a pageant. So that was when I was 17. I'm now almost 30, so quite a while ago now. And I actually entered a local competition, Miss Portsmouth, which was a regional for the Miss England, which obviously goes to Miss World. And I was so clueless back then. I really had no clue what I was doing at all. And I didn't even become a finalist. I just sent off an application and never heard back, which was quite sad. But it just, my determination was quite consistent. So I applied again the next year. And I was actually at university at this point in Bristol. And so I competed for Miss Bristol, again, as part of Miss England. I really loved the Miss England pageant and organisation and everything that they stood for. And I think that is such a fantastic pageant for girls to go into, to start off with pageantry, because it's such an all-rounded competition. So I competed at Miss Bristol and I came first runner-up to the girl who won was Amy, who obviously went on to as well. So she was a huge inspiration for me and kept me wanting to compete so I could finally win a regional title. It took me a long time, actually. I didn't seem to learn the error of my ways and kept making the same mistakes, actually, which is why I went back to Miss Bristol and again came first runner-up. A lot of disappointment, a lot of tears were shed, a lot of chocolates were eaten afterwards and calling my friends and despairing of why can't I win? Why am I not good enough? And, you know, I think a lot of pageant girls have been in that place and wondering, you know, what are they doing wrong? Why can't they win? and sometimes actually wondering what's wrong with them, when actually that's not the case at all. I do believe that there is a bit of a formula to being successful in pageants, and not everyone knows that when they start out. And I certainly didn't, hence why it took me, until I was 20. When did I win Miss Hampshire? I think I just graduated uni, so I was 21 when I won Miss Hampshire and finally got to the Miss England finals. So that's how it all started, just applying, not being successful, making mistakes, not learning from my mistakes, and basically learning the hard way until I eventually made it, like about 4 years later.
Right. And then how did you transition from the world system to the universe system?
Well, I competed in Miss England for a few years, absolutely loved it. I came in the top 15 both times. I won Miss Eco. Obviously, I got in the top 5 for talent, dancing like Michael Jackson, which is my secret party trick. That was very
impressive. Can you still dance like that?
I'm a bit rusty, to be honest, but with Halloween just gone, I do always get up the Thriller. So, and if I go out and some Michael Jackson comes on, people egg me on, and I do tend to bust out a moonwalk. So, but I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, and just maybe a bit of Beat It routine. Maybe the Billie Jean routine if you're lucky, but I love his music. I love to dance, and I actually used to do a lot of charity, what they call flash mobs, where you just suddenly start dancing in the street. And that was my main way of fundraising for Beauty with a Purpose, actually, dancing, teaching everyone how to dance like Michael Jackson, doing the Thriller, doing Billie Jean, doing Beat It, and actually bringing communities together actually through song and dance. So, but the transition, so I competed in Miss England a few times, and I just felt like, as you grow older and you learn more about yourself, you're sort of attracted to different systems. So I thought I'd try out Miss Universe Great Britain. And I forgot to mention, I had actually competed in Miss Universe Great Britain before. And this was before I even made it to the Miss England finals. I became a finalist in, I think, 2011 when Chloe Beth Morgan won. I didn't place, but it was a fantastic experience. And I knew that for me, if I wanted to win a pageant, I would need to sort of grow a little bit more, become more mature, know who I am. And it was never a question of whether I would return to Universe. It was just a matter of when I felt ready to do so.
Absolutely. Now we're getting a bunch of questions. So guys, just to reiterate, leave your questions there. I will circle back around to Grace. I'll give them back to Grace very soon. But obviously I need to ask you, and I want to ask you about Reignmakers, because I've interviewed a lot of queens and I'll continue to do so, but I really want to interview more directors and coaches. So can you give us an idea as to what prompted you to start Reignmakers?
Yeah, of course. So when I was competing in pageants, pageantry was very different. It's evolved so much in the past sort of 4 or 5 years, and I love pageants, but back then they weren't as widely celebrated. So when I won Miss Universe Great Britain, I didn't really have any help. I didn't have a coach to guide me. I didn't have anyone to help me. I didn't have anyone to give me a heads up of what to expect or how to prepare, how to pack a wardrobe, what was expected of the pageant. I really naively just flew into Miami and was just like, I'm here. And literally in the first couple of days, I realized, oh my God, like, this is serious. Like, Miss Universe is huge. And
it doesn't get bigger than Miss Universe.
I know. And at the time, I didn't realize the hugeness of it all. But obviously, until I got there and I realized, in registration of fittings, that I was never going to win Miss Universe. But I said, I'm here representing my country. I am ever so much the patriot. And I was like, I want to do my family, my country, my friends, my director, my pageant sisters. I want to do them all proud, and I'm going to learn as much as I can in the 4 weeks that I was at Miss Universe. And that's exactly what I did. So I studied all the other girls, back then it was more sort of the South American Latinas, which were very successful in pageantry. Obviously now there's a shift more towards beautiful Asian girls, and especially Philippines. What a powerhouse.
Yes, exactly.
But I studied all the girls, and we had such a fantastic coach at Miss Universe called Lou. I think she's quite the role model, I think, for a lot of pageant girls.
What is Lou's full name? I'm just wondering if it's a Lou that I'm thinking about.
I think it's her name is Lou on Instagram. She's Lou Sierra.
Lou Sierra, that's the one. I ask if anyone that, like, if there's anyone that you would die to meet in pageant land, her name comes up again and again and again.
She's incredible. She's so charismatic, and even though there's like 100 girls in rehearsals or on the stage, she can captivate everyone's attention in literally a couple of seconds. She is just a phenomenal woman, and I learned so much from her. Everything I know is basically based on what she taught me in those 4 weeks, and I saw it as my duty to come back to Great Britain and spread that message, because I didn't know it, and if I didn't know it competing at Miss Universe Great Britain, then certainly no one else is going to know it as well. So
of course,
that's what made me set up, when I first launched it was called London School of Pageantry, and now I've sort of, my company's called Reignmakers, so that's sort of taken over now, Reignmakers, London School of Pageantry. And I just wanted to share what I learned and to raise the standard of British pageantry, because I do believe we have such incredible, inspirational girls which can and will win these international titles, such as Miss World, Miss Universe, Miss International. Like Harriet in Japan at the moment is doing like phenomenal.
Amazing. Yeah.
I know, and it's like we are a fantastic country of girls, and we deserve to be and do the absolute best in these international pageants, and that has been my mission ever since I got back from Miami and I competed at Miss Universe. So that's what I've been doing for the past almost 5 years now.
Absolutely. And let's just, so for the girls watching, or the guys watching, or the parents watching, if they want coaching, what's the best way to organize that?
So I would say through my website, but sadly, my website's actually just suddenly disappeared. So hold fire on my website. The best place to actually organise bookings at the moment is probably for my Facebook page, which is Reignmakers London School of Pageantry, until obviously I get a new website up and running.
Right. I did see your post. You said it wasn't just down, it was deleted, like you've lost the whole thing.
I know.
What happened?
I'm having a bit of a meltdown, because I've had the same server ever since I launched back in 2015, and I had like a starter package for a new business owner, and they've just decommissioned that package. So the package and everything that I created on that sort of website builder has ceased to be, and I was told that on Saturday morning. So we'll have to start from scratch, but it's a new opportunity to make a bigger and better website. And I've got so much planned for my girls that I'll be coaching, a lot of online and interactive coaching to offer different levels of coaching, because not everyone can come and see me. Not everyone has the spare funds to come and see me. So I'll be offering lots of different prices. For those that just want to do online coaching and follow a program, then there'll be a really affordable online option on my website to be able to do that.
Perfect. Because as we both know, pageantry is not a cheap business. It's not a cheap thing to get into, is it? It's
not, but part of what I coach is a 360-degree approach on how to prepare yourself to be as successful as you can, which obviously includes how to get sponsorship. And I think that perhaps is an area which a lot of girls could need help in.
Absolutely. Because
pageantry isn't that celebrated in this country. So it is a struggle to find sponsorship and to fund. I believe that pageantry can, I know what you want from it, but you can turn it into some sort of career. Therefore, you need to be able to get paid for it, to make money from it, to get sponsored for it. And I coach my girls on how to monetize from something that they love doing.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I love the sound of that, because there are a lot of pageant girls who are struggling on the financial side, and it doesn't surprise me that, you were sort of mentored by Lou. The Americans have this sort of art of professional pageantry down to an art much more, or down to a science much more than it sounds in the UK, and definitely here in Australia. I think we're probably 1 or 2 steps even behind you guys. So I think if you're competing everywhere and you have no money, I don't think that makes you a better contestant if you're always struggling. So that sponsorship thing is huge.
Yeah, I think it's a huge help. And conversely to that, at the same time, you don't have to be loaded, or you don't have to have loads of sponsorships to win a pageant. You can have a basic off the sale rail dress and just pull some things together last minute and still do really well. But obviously, when you are competing at that international level, you know, when you're thinking of national costumes, your wardrobe and all your outfits for 2 or 3 weeks, it can be quite a financial burden if you're just supporting yourself. So, yeah.
Okay, we'd better get to the Facebook questions, otherwise I'm going to be lynched. So, guys, if you have any questions for Grace, put them in the comments now. I'm going to circle back up to the top if I can. Okay, so we've got one from... there's a lot of comments here as well, Grace. So after the interview, you'll get lots of supportive comments. I'll let you go back through afterwards and message them all. But yeah, I won't narrate them all to you. Otherwise, we'll be here forever and a day.
Okay.
But Joanna Johnson, who I've interviewed previously, has asked, what do you believe a Miss Universe GB should be? I guess that is the implied question is different to a world or a galaxy or an international, etc. What should a Miss Universe GB be?
It's a tricky one because even though I won Miss Universe Great Britain myself, I love and I support all pageants. But I suppose that when it comes to Universe, I really think that perhaps over other pageants at Miss Universe, you really do have to have like 110% stage presence. It has to be almost so confident that not that it's verging on arrogance, but that it's just a showstopper, and you can fill a bigger stage as the Miss Universe stage, because when you're on the Miss Universe stage, it's a big TV production, and you're on the stage on your own, and you have to perform not only to the judges and the audience, but also to cameras as well. So you do have to have that level of confidence and charisma and those on-stage abilities as well. But aside from that, person-wise, I think that perhaps it sounds a bit cliche, but I really do think that Miss Universe Great Britain does have to have it all. She does need to have the looks. There is a bikini round, so she does have to have a good figure. That doesn't mean being tiny. It doesn't mean being a size 0, but healthy and in shape, whatever size that is. And she really does have to be involved and have a strong, unique, and well-developed platform, in a sense that it's not enough to simply say that you're passionate about something. You really do have to go that step further and turn this dreams into doing, and actually having the evidence to be speaking about it. Because if you look at Miss Universe, and I coach my girls always to the next level, so if they want to win Miss Universe Great Britain, I'm already coaching them and preparing them to go to internationals. So So it's really important to actually do the legwork, do the admin, do the paperwork to actually get these projects, these campaigns, these platforms that everyone is so passionate about, and actually implement it and manifest it into reality. Because on the Miss Universe stage, all the other contestants have done this. And if my girl or a Miss Universe Great Britain, for example, has not done that, then that will be a disadvantage, I think, anyway.
Yeah, that answer is fascinating to me. It doesn't surprise me, because Miss Universe is currently, at least, the biggest pageant, the most prestigious pageant, the most well-known pageant, certainly here in Australia. So to hear you say that everything kind of has to peak at Miss Universe, that doesn't surprise me at all. And I actually do love the fact that you can't just say you're passionate about it, that you have to prove through action. I really actually love that. Okay.
I do believe that's what separates the winners from, I don't like to say losers, no one's ever a loser, but the non-winners, let's say.
Of course.
The difference between just dreaming and doing is what separates the winners and the non-winners.
Of course. A question from Jessica Barclay, who is Ms. Middlesex Galaxy at the moment. What do you do to maintain your mental health in such a busy world?
That's such a relevant question, and thank you for that question, Jessica. So outside of pageantry and being a pageant coach, I'm actually studying, I'm continuing my own studies, and I'm actually studying to eventually qualify to become a psychotherapist. So this whole movement of mental health and looking after ourselves actually is really on my mind a lot, actually. So I suppose that with what I do with my studies, my practice, because obviously to become a qualified psychotherapist, you do have to practice. I have to have therapy myself, because obviously I can't be a therapist and have my own issues. Although everyone does, let's face it.
You're human.
But it's being on top and being aware of those issues. Yeah, exactly, we're human. So I think a lot of my own studies, my own personal therapy, and actually talking about it works really well for me in a society which sometimes can be really draining, and it's really important to actually take a step back from it and take that me time and not feel bad in doing so.
So what do you do for, I mean, as we said, you're human, so everyone gets a bit stressed at times. So when you do need to just de-stress or debunk or get away from it all, what are your go-tos just to de-stress?
My go-to when I'm really like riled, I will go to the gym and lift some heavy weights or get on the treadmill. When I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, I am one of those types to just binge on Netflix and mentally switch off, which I find very therapeutic, very calming.
Same.
And get all the problems.
Yeah. I turn Netflix on almost just as background noise. I'm not really watching it. It's just there to help my brain switch off.
But I think it's really important, actually, you know, in this movement of mental health awareness, I think it's really important to talk to people and actually not be afraid of seeking help. Like, I'm training to become a psychotherapist myself. There's absolutely no shame in going and having therapy. Like, I highly recommend it to everyone to go and have that space for yourself to talk through any problems or just life in general with a professional is amazing.
It's super relevant. And I will say, I've worked a lot in mental health. I will say, if you do go to a therapist, it's like pageantry in terms of, if you don't do so well the first time, get up and do it again. If you are unlucky enough to find a therapist that doesn't really work for you, don't give up. Find another one. Keep looking until you find one that works with you. Because it's daunting, as you said, to go to therapy in the first place and admit that you need it. And then sometimes if the first experience is not so great, a lot of people will just go, okay, therapy is not for me. And that can lead to a very dangerous road. So persist with it until you find a good therapist. Exactly.
It's a bit like a relationship. Not everyone's going to be perfect.
It is like Tinder, swipe right, swipe left. Joanna Johnson has asked, are you going to be doing another workshop in the near future?
I am, yes. I'm sort of deciding on dates exactly now. And this, obviously, I held one recently up in the Midlands here in Leicester. I'm really wanting to host one down south in London again. London's always a huge success because obviously everyone wants to come to London because you can combine it with so many other things, pageant shopping in Oxford Street. But yes, I am hoping to do one of these before Christmas.
Right.
I'm aware that we're already like a week into November. So if not before Christmas, it will definitely be in January. A lot of pageants are happening sort of early. Pageant season seems to be shifting. So I'm definitely going to have it either before Christmas or just after, because I know a lot of girls want to come along and have that intense sort of 6-hour coaching.
Sure. On that note, for the guys watching, if you want Grace to run a workshop in a certain location, just put them in the comments below so that when she circles back and looks at the comments, you can actually see. So there's 20 of you who are right on now and want everyone to be coached in a certain location. Let Grace know in the comments. Sienna and Brian has asked, what would be your general advice for a pageant newbie? I have my first pageant final in May and did not realize how big the pageant industry actually was. So she hasn't actually stated which pageant she's competing in, but your general advice for a pageant newbie?
Well, being a pageant coach, I would say get a coach, whether that's me or someone else, because you can either take my sort of a take on pageants and take a really, really long way round and spend about 5 years getting to where you want to get to. Or you can maybe have a session with a coach and get a little bit of insight and actually know how to prepare. And in knowing how to prepare, you can actually get the most out of the pageant, because that's what I believe pageants are so amazing at doing, is giving girls amazing opportunities, not just to go on stage and have fun, but to meet other friends, to do amazing things, to learn about yourself, to learn what you want to do in the future, what your passions are. And I think that a coach can really spearhead and funnel that process for a girl. And actually, if Sienna's pageant is in May, she's actually got a really sort of juicy chunk of time there to really get stuck into preparation for her pageant. I feel like a lot of newbies can fall into the trap of just sort of preparing outfits and maybe practicing a little bit of a walk, when actually there's so much more to that. And primarily what I coach is all about, that self-development, learning who you are, and once learning who you are, developing a purpose so you can actually stand out and have more of a platform when competing in your pageant. And that is a crucial part of, I believe, winning the pageant, is actually being able to have a purpose to use the title for something other than just competing in a pageant. Yeah.
Absolutely. If there are people watching who are looking for coaches, and as you said, it could be they get coaching with you or another coach as well, what are just some of the key points that you would advise the girls to look for when selecting a coach? I've been a coach, for example, a tennis coach in my life, and I narrowed it down to 3. One was that they needed to know their stuff. 2 is that they needed to be able to transfer that onto you. It was no good if they knew it and they couldn't give it to you. And then the third one was like that thing you said about dating. It's just that personal rapport, because some people we get on better with than others. But from your experience, for a girl looking for a coach, what are some of the things that you would advise them to look for?
It's funny you mentioned this, because I did actually have a blog on this, but now my website's gone, so I'll have to rewrite that. But some of the things is definitely, look at their own experience. What has this coach competed in? Where did they place? I'd also look at, obviously price is a big thing, but I suppose that depends on the girl's sort of goals in pageantry and what level she's competing at. I'd also look at how successful a coach is. Like, do they have winners? Because I think that there is a big difference between sort of advising for pageants to get the most out of the process and the experience, between actually being coached to win a pageant. Both are fantastic, but very different. So actually look at who has this coach coached, and did they win their pageants, and in what pageants. I would say that those are some of the main things. And obviously, like you said as well, there has to be some level of inspiration there. You have to want to learn from them. You have to want to feel like you have that good relationship with them, because otherwise it's not going to work. So it does come down to a personal preference. But yeah, looking at what pageants they've entered, look at their pageant CV, who they've coached, what their sort of winning rate is, and obviously what methods they use to coach as well. Obviously, I do online, face-to-face, and contract in both Leicester and London, because location is a big thing as well.
Of course. So that blog post, you'll really need to bring it back by the sounds of it, if you can find it in the depths of the internet somewhere.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Hopefully. We've got a question from Jasmine Foley, who was Mrs. Galaxy Island. I'm trying to remember everyone's titles. What are your tips on reflecting on your performance at a previous pageant and learning from it? And then she said, just to add, Grace is wonderful and taught me the pageant essentials when I started. last year. So tips on reflecting on your performance to learn from it.
So again, call me biased, but I think a coach helps, because I think it's really important to get that outsider perspective. Friends and family, they love us. They don't care whether we fall over, whether things went wrong. So they'll be like, darling, you did fantastic and I'm so proud of you, and rightly so. But I do feel like you do need that honest friend or a coach to actually say, you know what, you could have done better here. Obviously, the interview is a huge, a lot of, I would say, the scoring is weighted on interview. The judge's opinion could be highly weighted on the interview, and the only person in the interview is obviously the candidate and the judges. So perhaps contacting the judges, obviously not the day after the pageant, but contacting perhaps one of the judges. Some pageants provide feedback, which is fantastic, but contacting the judges, asking for feedback. And I think it's a really important part of the process to actually, of competing in pageants, to actually, once you've done a pageant and perhaps didn't do as well as you wanted, or won and perhaps want to enter a different system, is looking at yourself and thinking, well, how can I improve? And I think that is an important part of the process of my coaching and what I do, is establishing where my client is now and where they need to be, and then constructing the goals accordingly. For example, a walk can always be better, interview can always be better. And styling and outfits, I mean, that changes as we grow as people. So I think it's about taking the system into consideration as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so Beth, sorry, Beth, I don't know if it's Johansson or Johansson, but I'll go with Beth Johansson. What was your experience of Miss Universe? Is it completely different to any other system you have competed in? And then, as a side note, she said she would love to train with you soon. So there you go. You got a customer by the looks of it, Grace. But what was your experience of Miss Universe? And I guess how is it different to other systems?
Miss Universe was just a whirlwind, crazy experience. And I tell you what, if I could do it again, knowing what I know now, I would. It was, I mean, Miss Universe Great Britain, by the way, is a fantastic platform for women, which is literally like a hen party. Everyone's just having an amazing time, and it just so happens that someone wins a pageant. But Miss Universe itself, you know, it's a huge learning curve for me. I was really lucky, actually. I went to Miami for 4 weeks, and we did so many amazing events and appearances, and it was just incredible. And I have that to thank for where I am now in life and what I do now. Obviously, I'm pretty much a full-time pageant coach. This is my career. And if I didn't do Miss Universe, then I would have never received this amazing opportunity and met the amazing people that have supported me along the way. I'm also an ambassador actually now of Universal Traveling Girls, which is basically a sisterhood of all the girls that I competed with at Miss Universe. We competed almost 5 years ago now, and we still have a reunion every single year. We go to different countries, we get involved in whatever country we're in the local communities, and actually we don't just travel, but we have basically traveling with a purpose. So
I love it.
Miss Universe has given me these amazing lifelong friendships, like actual friendships. It's not just sort of staying in touch with people that I met 5 years ago, but we're actually friends. We love each other to bits, and we still travel the world and have amazing experiences together as pageant sisters. And it's such an amazing thing because of Miss Universe. And I know a lot of pageants have that as well, you know, the sisterhood that it creates.
Okay, so what we'll do, guys, if you have any more questions for Grace, make sure you put them in below, because as I mentioned at the beginning, I have the podcast starting at 9 p.m. and Grace is actually on her phone at the moment, and iPhones can't charge and use headphones at the same time. So we want to make sure we get everything in before her phone dies. But just before we go to the final 10 questions, Grace, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, or just say thanks to, for supporting you along your journey, not just in pageantry but in life and everything else?
Oh, There's so many people actually, and I just want us to give a shout out actually to all the girls that have had coaching with me, and thank you for believing in me. Thank you for coming to me for your for advice, because I see what I do. It really is a bit of a cycle. Like, girls come to me and they think that I'm inspiring them, and I have these such incredible girls coming to me and they're just incredible, and then they inspire me. So there's this amazing inspiration cycle. So I just want to shout out to my girls that come for coaching with me. I've got a few long-standing girls that always come and have a session, and then obviously new girls that come. I love you all, and you are the ones that inspire me and keep me doing what I do. So big thank you to all you girls that always come for the Reignmakers coaching.
Perfect. Okay, we will race through or go quickly through the final 10 questions. And then if there are any more questions on Facebook, I will circle back to them if we have time. But I want to stress, people think the final 10 questions that I do, you have to answer quick fire. You don't. I don't know where that rumor started that it was quick fire. I was going to say, people feel stressed. It's like, it's not a rapid fire thing. Okay, so final 10 questions. Number 1, what is your favorite word?
Oh my goodness, that's something I wasn't expecting. My favorite word, I think it's got to be happiness. I think that when I hear that word, it makes me feel happy. It sounds a bit cringe, but yeah, happiness. It makes you feel good. The warm and fuzzy feeling. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to feel happy. Everyone wants to spread a little happiness. It's a feel-good word, and everyone wants to feel good.
Absolutely. Okay, the flip side, question 2. What is your least favorite word?
It's funny you say this, because I was actually thinking about it today, and I have no idea, but I really do not like the word cluster. I don't know what it is about the word. Maybe there was some horror story from uni which involved this word, but I just don't like the sound of it. It's a horrible word, cluster. Ooh. No, thank you.
That is definitely a first. Okay, that's original. Okay, breaking new ground. Question 3. In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
What, is that 2 different questions or the same one?
No, it's the same one. But you see, the original question was supposed to be just what turns you on, and that can be an awkward question to ask. Yeah. So I like to frame it by saying it's what turns you on in life in general.
Okay, what turns me on, gets me excited, is just when people are really enthusiastic and love what they do. I think it doesn't matter what your interests are in life, what it is that you do, what you love, but if someone is really passionate about what they do and wants to share it and wants to tell everyone about it, that gets me excited, and I don't care what it is. I mean, I'm not into maths and like too sciencey stuff, but if someone's like really passionate about it, like, I'm game and I'm getting involved. So yeah, passion.
Perfect. And the flip side, what turns you off?
What turns me off? I think, well, I'm a very sensitive person, and I think because I'm a trainee therapist, maybe I read into people too much, but I can just really pick up like negative vibes in the surrounding space around human beings, and when I pick up negative vibes, I feel like it's just a huge turn off for me. I'm all about the vibes. Bad vibes turn me off. Absolutely.
Question 5. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh my God. This is where I'm going to have to come clean about one of my secret little obsessions. I really love the sound of chiropractic manipulations.
Oh, good God. Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
some people don't love it, but I love the sound when your neck is cricked, or maybe your back. Oh, it's very delectable. I love the sound. It makes me want to go see a chiropractor, to be honest. But there's an amazing page on Instagram, which is just chiropractic manipulations, and it's incredible. I love the sound.
Wow. I did not expect that. I've had chiropractic manipulation, and specifically I've had my neck cracked, and I got to say, the first time, even maybe the second or third time, when someone moves your neck that way and you hear your own neck crack, it just feels like, okay, I should be dead now. It's it's not just the sound, maybe it's a whole sensation.
Yeah. Maybe it sounds different when it's actually being done on yourself, but to hear it in someone else, I'm just like, oh yeah, that sounds amazing.
What do you mean? Okay, well, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, it has to be like a squeaky, I'm just trying to think, I obviously haven't heard it in a while, but like that squeaky chalkboard noise. I don't like that noise. That really does, like, it grates my bones. It's not nice at all.
You can feel squeaky it in your like teeth.
Yeah, just feel it. Oh, yeah, not good.
Question 7. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Well, for me, it would definitely have to be flying, because I'm a big dreamer. I dream every night, very vivid, crazy dreams. Sometimes I can even control them, and I always dream about flying. So I would love to be able to fly in real life, purely for the sake of it. There is no reason to it, to be honest, but if I could fly, I think that would be absolutely sensational, like a bird. Yeah.
Question 8. What job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I remember back when I was in my early 20s, I wanted to be an actress. I thought, I'm competing in pageants. I could definitely be an actress and just be like the face of some makeup campaign. I would actually love to go into acting. I think I've got the confidence. I don't take myself too seriously. I would love to go and attempt to become an actress, maybe star in a film. I don't think that will happen, but you never know. Maybe I'll have a career change if the therapy thing doesn't work out.
Okay, question 9. What job or occupation other than your own would you definitely not like to attempt?
Oh, that's a tricky one, because you always think about what you want and not what you don't want. I think, what occupation would I not want? I was actually just thinking I wouldn't want to be an athlete or anything, because that would require a lot of going to the gym, and going to the gym like a few times a week is quite a tall ask for me anyway. So I definitely wouldn't want to be an athlete and have to go to the gym and watch what I eat all the time. That would not work well with me. I love my food, and just go to the gym a few times a week. Yeah,
food and pageantry tend to go hand in hand. It's definitely a recurring theme, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now I'm not competing anymore. I have the glory of still being involved in pageants and not having that pressure of, getting pageant body ready. So, which is fabulous, because I do love food. I do enjoy the gym, but I'm not a slave to working out. I love enjoying my food, and the luxury of being involved in pageants without the pressure of having a bikini body.
What is your go-to favorite food? Is it chocolate?
Oh, how did you know?
Because you mentioned chocolate before.
Oh, did I? I didn't even know. That's how much it's just a part of me. I love chocolate. Milk, white, dark, any form. I'm a chocoholic, and I could just eat an entire bar of chocolate very easily every day. I have actually just started a diet, Christmas diet, to allow the overeating at Christmas. So it's an advanced diet. Yeah, so no chocolate for me until Christmas. Yeah.
Wow. That's going to take some doing there. Final question, Grace.
I know. Yeah.
Final question, question 10. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, well, I do believe there is something. after we pass over. And I would love that if I arrived at I say if, like I might not go, when I arrive at the pearly gates, I would love for God to say that all my friends and family that are already there are waiting for me, and that I can see and speak to them again. I think that would be something really lovely.
Perfect. Okay, well, Grace, that is the final 10. Let me just check Facebook. Yeah, you have a lot of comments there just saying that they love you. So I'll let you go through after we're done here, and you can respond to them personally. And Bethany has clarified it's Johansson. That's what I thought it was. Okay, look, Grace, thank you so much for your time. And just before we wrap up, once again, if people want to contact you for coaching, what's the best way?
Yes, so until I have launched a new website, which will probably be sometime at the end of this year, please do contact me over Facebook on Reignmakers London School of Pageantry. Alternatively, I'm also on Instagram as well, and the Instagram handle is Reignmakers Official. So just slide into my DMs. Do let me know what pageant you're competing in, when the pageant is, and where you're based, and how many hours you would like. I offer 5, 10, or 20. Either face-to-face or online. So slide into my DMs, and then we can plan how to win your pageant.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, well, Grace, I'm just going to keep you on the line for a second whilst I wrap up with the audience. But thank you for your time, and thank you to everyone for watching. We will speak to you next time.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and I'll have a read through the comments and get back to anyone who wants to know any more.
What's up, guys? It's Adrian again. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to head over to pageantlaunch.com, join our launch team for our review site. It's super important to all of us to make sure that the industry is safe, transparent, and fair. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, write in your email address, and we'll speak to you next time.